Attack on Titan is probably the best piece of media created over the entire last decade. On September 9th, 2009, Hajime Isayama decided to bless the world with a little story about the humanity trapped inside of walls being terrorized by a bunch of humanoid creatures looking to devour them. As we come up on May 2021, a little under 12 years since that original start, I can easily say Shingeki no Kyojin, otherwise known as Attack on Titan, has definitely become one of the greatest anime/manga series of all time, bar none. Over the course of 33 volumes, we followed the story of Eren Yeager and his friends as they've tried to understand the secrets of their world, understand why they're being devoured by these humanoid monsters, otherwise known as Titans, and just trying to survive and live and make sense of their world. It has been an experience. It was and I'm just gonna say this, I was late. I really didn't give it too much of a chance at first. I wanted to think it was going to be one of those overhyped animes. You know, if you're an anime person, you know, there's a couple of them that come out every year. Everybody thinks, oh, this is going to be the next hot thing. And a lot of them sometimes just don't really measure up. That's what I was expecting. I didn't think it was going to be that big. And I sort of missed the ball. Even as it was sort of gaining so much popularity in 2013, I sort of was just being a contrarian. I wanted to think, this ain't all that. And you know what? Eggs on my face, because this has been one of the greatest experiences just of enjoying something that I've had, just because of the different ways it's made me think, the ways I've been able to relate that to real life, to history. It's crazy to just see. And I think that Isayama deserves so much credit for the story, the world he was able to create, the way he was able to keep us invested in these characters, keep us invested in these different environments. I'm gonna do as much as I can to not spoil this or not talk about spoilers until about midway through this episode. Then I'm gonna let loose. But for now, I'm trying to let y'all know as much as I can without saying too much. The way he was able to just sort of make us think about the choices and make us understand sometimes there really is no victor in a situation. It's A+. It's chef's kiss. You got to give the man credit, because he did some shit that is never going to be replicated. You're never going to really recreate what he was able to do with this story. And that is what motivated me to talk about it. As you all know, it's your boy Jerm. You are tuned into Kinetic Aesthetic, and if you can't tell already, today we're going to dedicate our episode to Attack on Titan. This is the type of story I really think deserves this type of discussion. It deserves that type of thought. There's so much different nuance. There's so many different things that you have to watch this show. You have to watch the show it's on Hulu, it's on Crunchyroll, it's on all the streaming services pretty much except Disney Plus. So you got no reason not to check this shit out. So please stop what you're doing. Go watch episode 1 and come back to this. And it's just a different type of experience when it comes to anime or manga, because this is something that, regardless of if you've never seen any anime or manga, if you think they're all just cartoons meant for kids, if all you know is Dragon Ball Z, you will enjoy this show. It's that type of series, it's just that type of experience. And that's why we're going to take this episode and we're going to dedicate it to it. I'm going to discuss all the different aspects of it. Like I said, second half I'll go into the actual story itself and what happens in it, and talk about maybe some of the more spoilery character details. But for now, I'm just going to go over the different aspects of it that I like and why you should check it out. I think it goes without saying that Attack on Titan is a very unique type of phenomenon amongst pop culture right now. I don't think you can find any other instance where a show with this type of story to it, that's animated, that is part of a niche type of subgenre of animation, could just have this type of crossover appeal. I mean, you really have to think about what is it that draws us to just seeing these characters, Aaron and his friends, and all the Survey Corps, and all these other characters. What draws us to watch them go through their struggles, to watch them have to fend off these titans? What makes us so interested in these different little political discourses and different type of organizational affairs that they have? What is it? And I think that's just because for a lot of us, Attack on Titan is like, it's almost like watching a real life soap opera, just because it's so realistic. Like, you almost forget that these characters are animated. You almost feel like, oh my goodness, this is a live action show that's just based in a different type of realm of reality. And that is what draws so many people to it. That's why you can get into it even if you're not an anime or a manga person, because this show feels so human. Everything that happens, it's just all so random and crazy at times. You don't know who's gonna make it. You don't know who's gonna be there at the end. All you know is that the fighting will continue. That's the only thing that is consistent in the show. That's the only thing that really is a complete constant. And it really does just sort of, it speaks to what we ought to us as people and to us as humans, because that is maybe the constant theme of humanity. Fight. 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 All we can do is fight. Amongst ourselves, with each other, with nature, with the universe. All we can do is fight, trying to survive. And Attack on Titan does a good job of just reinforcing that and just showing us how, in a lot of different ways, there's no real good side. There is no good or evil. You are just people trying to survive. Very rarely do you have someone who is just purely wicked or purely good. And very rarely are they able to maintain that, or are they able to survive in this world, because sometimes people have to do crazy shit just to get by. Sometimes people have to put themselves in crazy situations or crazy scenarios just to try to make sense of the world, or just to try to understand and get through that day. You look at the world building that the show does, well, how it manages to take it sounded just crazy to me at first. All of humanity stuck behind 3 walls. You're being hunted by these giant monsters who just want to eat you, who are just pretty much naked humans themselves. And it did sound ridiculous to me. I didn't think I would get as into it as I did, but I give credit to that, because they don't focus on the premise itself. They focus on getting you involved with these characters. It's just a classic case of, you're gonna care about this guy. You're going to care about himself so much that you're going to forget, oh, this situation he's in makes no sense. I just hope he gets out of it. And they don't sucker you in like a lot of shows by giving people too much plot armor. You really never know who's going to make it. You don't know who's going to survive. You don't know who's going to be there at the end of the day. All you know is the fight's going to continue. People are going to keep having a struggle. And you start to feel for these characters, and they're young. Like all these characters are young, so you're just watching these young people just have to deal with this world that they inherited. And I feel like, especially amongst young people, that's a very strong theme. Nowadays, we're dealing with a world that's full of bullshit, that's full of corruption, that's full of a whole bunch of nonsense that we didn't start, that we don't have anything to do with. We just want to live and have peace with each other. But a lot of times you inherit shit. You inherit these biases. You inherit these old grudges. You inherit this bullshit, and you end up having to continue the fight. and you end up having to just hope that you can try to survive and make do with it. And that's something that I really resonate with, and that I got from Attack on Titan. I also love that every character has a purpose. There's no character that's just there to be there. They don't do anything or contribute. Almost all of them have an arc, which is crazy within itself. If they don't die too early, they get their own arc, they get their own development. They're not the same as they are when they started, and you really have to give credit to the writer for that as well. Isayama, he snapped. And regardless of how some people feel now that it's over, it's just the type of manga or something that's going to be timeless. It's going to be there forever, because this is the type of story you can enjoy whether you're young. Well, matter of fact, I'm not sure I would want to. I don't think this is a story a young kid should be reading. It gets pretty violent, to say the least. But even then, this is the type of story you can enjoy whether you're a teenager, whether you're an adult in his 40s or his 30s, whether you're an elderly person at 60 or 70 or 80. You can get into Attack on Titan. It's got something for you. It's got something that'll draw you in, that'll remind you of the real world. I also think it's really important to give shout outs to the anime studios that have worked on this show, that have made it what it was, because as good as the manga is, and the manga is great, I really think that even if you're not a manga reader, you should check it out, just because you'll be able to really understand the story. And plus there's stuff that the anime didn't show. The anime is one of those cases where it is on par with the manga. And I don't really usually say that about too many. Usually it's either one way or the other. Like Yu Yu Hakusho, an example of the anime being better than the manga. You know, Dragon Ball Z manga sometimes better than the anime. But you just really get the idea that they took the proper care when they tried to create this show, and you have to give them credit for it. Good soundtrack, good job of always being able to create the atmosphere needed for the scenes when they had them in the show. All the voice acting is good, English or if it's subbed. It is a good show. You will enjoy English or subbed. This show is great. It is, and I usually don't say that about dubs. As I've grown older, I've honestly started to dislike dubs more and more. There's so many times where they make the main characters sound like shit. But even Aaron's voice fits his character. I don't care if you think he's an annoying little twerp. He pretty much was an annoying little twerp at that point. So it works for me. I love his kid voice. Mikasa, Armin, all of them. The voices are top notch. Everybody does a good job. They put the proper care and inflection in their voices. All that's good. Like I said, soundtrack, amazing. It's just handled properly. I love the way they animated the Titans, even when they have them in CGI at times now. They just look good. It still looks fluid and everything. The different fight scenes. This is one of the best fight mangas I've ever just had the pleasure of watching. And I love it in the manga, but even more so in the anime, where they're able to just really show all the fluidity and showcase the movements. It's top notch. You gotta give Mappa and Bones Studio, I think that's what they're called. No, it's not Bones. Hold on. And yeah, I was wrong. It's not Bone Studio. It's Wit Studios and Mappa. Shout out to both of them. They both did tremendous jobs on this show, especially considering the time restraints and everything. It is extremely difficult to be an anime studio, just anime or manga writer, but just both those industries are very, very taxing to work in. So shout out to them for what they've been able to create. I think the last thing that I can really say without going into the spoilers of what I like about the series is just, I really appreciate such a dark tone dystopia type of story. It's nice. I'm into the the just struggle type stories. I know I'm not a happy ending, just rosebuds and cherry tulips or whatever the hell you want to call it type shit. I like to see some stuff where there's some dark shit. I like to see that, I don't know, I don't know what that says about me, but you know what? I like that. So Attack on Titan does a good job of, it feels fresh. It doesn't feel like, the world has ended. A bomb has been set off. Nuclear explosions have set across the world. It feels like something completely new. Like I couldn't have thought of this shit myself. The way it all happened, the way the story plays out, the way all the type of characters you meet and how they all just fit together and all fit into this story. I couldn't have. So Isayama he deserves so much credit. All the credit in the world. That guy's a GOAT for this shit. But that's the last thing I can say that is not a spoiler, so I'm warning you right now. I am about to start getting into spoilers. I'm going to talk about a lot of shit that has probably been covered in the manga that you have not seen. Like, this is the first spoiler because there's going to be another one for people who haven't read the manga yet and haven't seen the ending that's coming. So I'm gonna give them a second spoiler, but for right now, if you have any plans to ever watch this show and you don't want to know how the story goes, this is your warning. Get off of this video right now. I'm gonna give you 15 seconds.
Report spoilers.
Okay, holy shit. Yes, this story is insane, man. I cannot really talk about it enough. I just starting from season 1, you start off with Eren, the whole fucking town just goes upside down first episode. I just love the intro. It just starts off with so much. You're just like, all right, what the fuck's going on? Why is this little guy crying? The next thing you know, there's giant fucking colossal titan comes over and destroys shit. People dying and everything. His mother getting eaten like that. You know what? Every main character in all these animes, shonen or non-shonen, they usually go through some shit, have some tragic backstory. This man had it rough. Watched his mama get eaten like it was nothing. Chewed in half in front of him, eyes all wide. That's how you really establish that this character, that's how you establish a character's backstory, man. That is how you do it. And as whiny and as annoying as he sounded afterwards when he did the whole "I'm gonna kill them all" type shit, that I felt that. I understood his anger. It was justified. It was righteous. He deserved to feel that way. And Isayama deserved a good job in that. After that, just watching he, Mikasa, and Armin go into the survey corps, just try out for the scouts, just go through all the struggles, just learning and training, getting to know their fellow recruits and everything. And you're getting to know all these characters. You don't spend too much time with them while they're training or any of that, but you get enough time to understand who you're supposed to care about, whose name you're supposed to know, and that makes it all the more heartbreaking and just tragic when you see them go out there and struggle, watch them lose their friends, lose each other, lose their own lives. Characters that you thought, all right, this character might have something, this character might make it, no, they don't end, they end up dead. And it's shitty to watch, but you get used to it. This show teaches you very early, don't get attached to these people. You don't know when they're going to go. You don't know when their time is up. You don't know what's going to happen. You also have to give a lot of credit to Isayama for just managing to, even when the characters make their betrayals, like even when Reiner and Bertolt, when they're revealed to be traitors, when you find out Annie is the female Titan, even though I'll be honest, you probably should have saw that coming. She looked exactly like her. Even when you find out these little twists, he manages to do it in a way where he shows you just enough of the backstories of these characters and gives you enough hints about their circumstances to where you understand they're not truly just evil. They're not villains. No, there are very few outright villains in this entire series, and that's one thing that's just been so refreshing to see. It does a good job. Not even our main characters, definitely not our main character, are gonna be always shown in a sympathetic, like, oh, this is the protagonist, this is the good person in the story, this is the beacon of light type of fashion. You're gonna see them from varying degrees and perspectives, and you're gonna understand that it's really just up to you how you view their actions. You're not told how to feel. You're not expected to feel any type of way. You just sort of, you see what happens in this story. And that is one thing that is just so completely underrated. I like looking at Ymir, not the slave who founded the Titans, just the character who was with them all. That is just, her whole arc is just crazy to watch. Just the shot of her after she is just she wakes up in the paths. That's beautiful. That just kept me. That's just one of my favorite shots, period, in all of anime I've ever seen. They did a beautiful job with it. 戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ. But like just with what happened with Reiner and Bertolt, like that is one of the best, most well done just betrayals, heel turns, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen in this genre, period. It's just the fact that you got so close to them. You actually, even if you later find out that Reiner was literally insane and that his whole persona of just being an actual good person and all that was fake, you got invested. You cared about Reiner, and I was a little shocked. I will be honest. I didn't pick up on the things, the little hints that he had left throughout the story up until that point, that he was the one, that Reiner and Bertolt were going to be traitors and Annie. I really didn't. Now, the second time you watch it, it's really, you'll probably see it a lot more. It's a lot, you have more fun with it because you see all the twists and turns coming, but now you can appreciate all the buildup. Because the second time, you'll notice nothing comes out of nowhere, really. Like, the only, this is just a tight story. And I was gonna just talk about the ending a little bit and maybe some of the stuff there that was rushed and just to come together, but no, it all comes together nicely. It's all done well. It's really just, it's A1 storytelling, man. Isayama deserves all the credit in the world. I hope I'm pronouncing this man's name right, but he just deserves all the credit, because it's hard to just think about that. Then, once you get past Reiner and Bertolt's betrayal, you just got all the stuff that happens with the Beast Titan. He's awesome. Zeke is a great character. I love Zeke. I'm going to talk about him a little bit more when we probably get to season 3. But, well, not season 3, but season 4. But yes, just everything that it was all just one after another. He never really introduced or brought in something and it just fell flat for me. And that's really impressive. The Marley reveal, the basement, all of that, you want to talk about how to flip a story on its head 101 and really just make it stick, really make you care about what's going on in the story. That's how you do it. It was literally just everything you would expect it to be and everything you want in this story. You go from just being on this island thinking that this is all of humanity that's just behind these 3 walls, when in reality, this whole story's world building history has got shit from thousands of years ago, and you really just, you have to appreciate it. Because again, you get in there by the 3rd season, you're not really like, okay, it's just, there's probably a whole bunch of stuff outside of this that we just don't know about. No, I really did believe civilization might have really just collapsed due to whatever happened in the past, but it turns out that's just been hidden from us. It did get a little bit to the point where it's just like, damn, there's an answer for everything as long as it involves paths. Like, you can do so, like, there was really nothing that he couldn't write himself out of just because of the nature of Titans, of paths, of the abilities that he gave them. But he never really abused it too much for me. He never really made stuff that was just like, damn, you really just created a mind fuck just for the sake of creating a mind fuck. No, it was all tight, it was all cohesive, and at the very least it made somewhat sense. Everything was consistent. Like the Attack Titan and all the way that it can inherit memories and do all that type of shit. That is the type of tight story stuff where, yeah, it includes time travel. Yeah, you can fuck it up very, very easily. But Isayama was able to avoid that by just making sure that he paid careful enough attention to where he implemented it, made sure he kept it in mind when he wrote further. It's all cohesive. This whole series is story writing 101. You want to talk about how to create a cohesive story that's going to make sense, that's going to be able to just be handle up to any type of scrutiny. This is it. You want to talk about how he was able to take us away. When season 4 starts, we don't even see Eren. We don't see Eren. We don't see Mikasa. We don't see Armin. We don't see anyone from Paradise. All we see are just, we get to know Reiner. We get to know Falco, Gabby. I know a lot of people don't like her, but we get to see all these new characters, and we get to really just sort of understand what it's like to be on the other side. It really gives you that better indication of, yeah, war sucks, because it's not like it's never a good person just fighting some evil villain. These are people who just want to live and survive on both sides. That's it. And you see, these are real people. And what makes it worse, they're pretty much the same fucked up oppressed race, just fighting each other at that point. They don't really fight Marleyans who are just like, who don't have Eldian blood in them. And it just goes to show just how fucked up the whole system of war is, and how terrible the world can be. That is one thing that I feel like Attack on Titan has shown me. It's just that you have to keep in mind the world sucks. These systems that we have in place, the shit that happens, it's terrible. People are just mistreated. The planet is closer to hell than it is to heaven. I'll just say that, and that's the best way I can say that. Now, one thing that I can say is definitely true about Attack on Titan is that there are a buttload of characters on there that deserve their own in-depth analysis. The way Isayama was able to just tell so many different stories, have all these characters go through so many different types of arcs, and all manage to just coexist and still form a cohesive story, is, and I keep repeating this, nothing short of exemplary. Like, he did a good job. But there's one character there are two actually. I want to talk a lot about Eren, but I'm gonna have to wait till the end. I'm gonna have to wait till the end for that when I do the ending spoilers, so we'll wait for that one. The one character I really just wanted to make sure I spoke on, though, was Erwin Smith. He is the Scouts commander. You all know season 1, well, if you're here at this point, I assume you know seasons 1 through 3. He was leading Eren and all of them through all this shit that was going on, and he is really just an example of a great character he's known as a devil. He's known as the demon, just because of the way he's able to make so many different sacrifices just to ensure that the Scouts get the job done, that he gets closer and closer to his goals. And it's just really interesting to watch his story to watch his story unfold, because it showcases so many different aspects of just human nature, of what people are like. This is a man who, when he was a child, he accidentally got his father killed because his father had long suspected that there was something more to the world than just we're all trapped behind these walls, we're the last of humanity. And so he shared that, and he ended up getting his father murdered. The government came and murdered him because they wanted to shut him up. And so it was just, this is a man that's been dealing with all that guilt throughout his life from that, and then just wanting to pursue that dream of figuring out what is the real truth of this world, what is going on. And you get so in depth with this man and with all these characters, like I said, and you get to a point, he dies right before they reach the basement. And it's just so amazing to me how we're able to go on with these characters, and you just get so invested. And I'll never forget, he gave one of the greatest anime speeches I've ever seen, English or dub. It is one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard. It made me want to go to war, and I was sitting in my room just watching this show, and I just heard this speech, and I was ready to go to war, fight. I don't know who the enemy is or anything. I was ready to go out there and just take care of some shit. And you just see all this happen with this man and everything that he goes through, and you gain so much appreciation for him. You gain so much respect for him when he gets hit by the Beast Titan's rocks, and it kills him mid-sentence, mid-speech, and there's just so many moments, man. It's crazy to look at this guy's story in particular, because he showcases to me exactly what the show is all about. People struggling to get past their own demons, struggling to continue to make the sacrifices needed to stay alive, and to just to stay afloat, and Erwin is making these choices for his entire country. He's not just making them for himself. He's the military commander basically of Paradise. And so you just look at these situations and you look at all he had to go through. They really do not try to sugarcoat it. So many people have died even before we are introduced to the scouts and everything that they've went through. Actually, the first time, I'm pretty sure, when we see the scouts, they're coming back from another excursion beyond the walls, and this is before they know anything. And these excursions would usually result in just so many people just getting murdered. They would always come back with more than half their people dead, everything just gone to shit. They're looking depressed, and he embodies what war is, in my opinion. Erwin Smith is the art of war. He embodies it. He embodies the fact that no one ever wins, that no one ever loses, that you have to make these terrible, terrible decisions, that you have to, and to quote Armin, you have to abandon your humanity in order to really change humanity. And he is a prime example of that. He's gotten to a point where he can make all these sacrifices, all these lives, have all these people sign up, and him knowing you're probably just going to end up dead. Another statistic. And it just, in the way you just have that nuance of him, he remains shown in a good light. He's never shown to be really just a mean or evil person, but he is sort of unlikable when you really think about his character, because everything he does is just somewhat selfish. He's doing so much just for himself, just so that he can make his dreams come true, not really caring. And let me say, he did care, but he was just so detached that he was able to say the means justify the ends. He was willing to crack a couple 100,000, that's what it felt like, all those bodies that they had, a couple 100,000 just eggshells just to get his omelet. And in the end, he didn't even get the omelet. And the show does that, man. It builds you up thinking that, all right, you think you're gonna get a satisfying or a satisfying conclusion to characters, to the story, to all of that. And in a lot of people, in my eyes, you don't always get that. And I think Erwin is just a very good example of that. Okay, and this is the part of the video where I really am going to just I want to start to talk about the ending manga spoilers, all the shit that goes along with the ending. If you have not seen past where the anime left off, season 4, then this video is not about to be for you. These final, however long this is going to take, this is not for you. I am giving you your warning right now. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to pretty much get out of here. Starting now. Go on, get. This video ain't for you now. We about to talk about some real ending shit. Real spoilers now. Talk about some shit about to get real crazy. Eren Yeager. Okay, I think I have given everyone about enough time to leave. If you're not a manga reader and you about to get spoiled, that's on you. Don't come to me. It's not on me. That's your fault. You shouldn't have listened. But I can honestly say the ending sort of fucking sucked. I really just want to talk about Eren right now. I just want to talk about Eren's character. You know, before you get to the ending, and I'm gonna explain the ending in a little bit from my perspective and the way I viewed it, but I want to talk about Eren and just explain this. When you start off this series, we are introduced to one of the most annoying, not even annoying, because again, I understand why he was always so angry and edgy and all that shit and sort of annoying, but you just had this character that it was easy to not like and not want to just sort of see succeed. or not, or you at least you definitely knew you needed to see him grow before you saw him succeed. But you see him grow over the course of the story. You see him become more and more jaded by everything that happens to him. You see this is a kid who comes in, he's very idealistic. He thinks he's just going to kill all the Titans, he's going to get revenge, he's going to save humanity. And you just see again and again and again he's forced to realize, okay, god damn, I might suck, or I am not going to be able to do this. This isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was. You see him lose people. You see him have to deal with the fact that even once he finds out he's a Titan, he still isn't able to just sort of save the world or just handle everything himself like he wants to. We watch it again and again happen. You see him become more and more just disillusioned with everything that's going on around him. With the Reiner and the Bertolt betrayal, you see how that really fucked with him. That really had him in tears, ready to cry. You see how he didn't want to believe that Annie was even going to be a traitor. He was even more so than Armin. Eren is the one that seems to take all these betrayals the hardest. He's the one that seems to not be able to understand why or how. Once you get to season 4 and you see him as a hobo, you see him infiltrating Marley, we see that he has become a whole different person. He's not that same Eren anymore. Eren from 1, 2, and 3, from those seasons, you see a little bit of a hint up towards what he's going to become at the end of season 3, but season 4 is just it's a complete 180 in terms of personality, in terms of the way he carries himself. It's not the same guy. The way he talks to Falco just so cold and calmly, the way he's able to manipulate him without even giving any care in the world. You know Eren saw the same parallels with him and Falco. They hint towards that. I can tell that, or at least that's the vibe I got, that Eren really does see a lot of these kids the same as him. So that makes it all the more shocking when he just goes and he completely starts to terrorize that entire, what's it called? He terrorizes Liberia. He kills the Tiber family. He declares war on them. He goes through all this, and it's a complete, and it's so shocking because this isn't the same guy. The Eren from seasons 1, 2, and 3, yeah, he wanted to kill all Titans, and I don't think he would have been down to declare war on another tribe of humans. That wasn't his MO. I think he would have wanted peace with them. He would have at least been able to understand and sympathize and be more open to what Armin was pushing when it came to the whole peace talks and not resorting to violence. But you just see Eren just wasn't one of those people, especially once he saw the horrors of war and he saw all that he had to lose. Growing up the way he did, seeing his mom go out like that, eaten in front of him. Once he realized that he killed his own dad, eating him just to inherit his Titans, you see that Eren just understands that there's too much to lose. There's too much for him to put at risk by not just going forward with what he wants to do, with going forward with the rumbling, by not manipulating Zeke. He does all this because he feels he has no choice. And honestly, you go through the story and you look at the way everything plays out, I don't think he had one either. You look at what art, and I'm gonna just paraphrase this. I don't disagree with Armin, but I do agree with Zeke and with Eren. They were wasting time. These other countries were not going to agree with Paradise if they want Paradise's peace offering. They weren't going to go for that shit. Even in a realistic human world, honestly, if I feel like they would have been at war a long time ago. 100 years is way too long. For that long, you think you're just gonna allow a group of people who just have the capability to turn into fucking monsters, man-eating monsters, who don't get tired, who have no real weaknesses other than the back of their neck? You think they were gonna let that shit slide? Hell no. And so I think it's really sad that you see Eren have to go through this, and I think that's the real tragedy of the story. Even more so than Eren and Mikasa's whole relationship, and I'm gonna get into that whole shit later. I think it is really sad to just see this boy go from being an idealistic, not really happy or completely sane, but you see him go from being a normal-ish boy to just a genocidal maniac. And it really feels like you just see how the world does it. It's not there was something a little off from him from the beginning, most likely, but still, it's sad to see the world push him in that direction. And I think that's one of the real themes of the show that I loved. It shows you how alienating people, how pushing people outside, how just refusing to let go of old grudges can really fuck you down the line. Because Eren Yeager was a creation of the world. He was shaped by his environment. Eren Yeager is what happens when you don't allow people to just be free to live. When you make people, and there's a lot of real life allegories that I could go into about fucking Eren Yeager and Attack on Titan and the themes that are presented in the story, but I'm not going to get into that because that'd be a whole nother story within itself. But it just shows you, man, you have to let go of that shit. You have to work towards peace, because if you just continue to fight, all you're going to do is lose. No one in Attack on Titan wins. Everybody fucking loses. The Marlians all lose in the end. They get fucking trampled to death. The Eldians are all losing because now the entire world pretty much hates them after Eren goes through with a rumbling and kills 80%. Yeah, that was the part that shocked me. It didn't look like that from the manga, but this man killed 80% of the fucking world. You have Mikasa who loses, Armin who loses, Eren loses his life. Eren loses a lot of shit, but he's dead. Like, it's just a sad story, man, and it just shows you war is never the answer. War may be an inevitable possibility. I know that's real easy for me to say, and that's some hippie shit, and it's unrealistic and idealistic, but war don't do nothing for nobody. And that's the one thing that I took away from the story. I really don't understand where I've seen shit about Attack on Titan being fascist lately, about it being like just against Jewish people, anti-Semitic. I think I already tried to touch on that. No, it's not. Like, first off, and just to go more in depth on the Jew shit, I don't understand. I get it to a certain degree because, well, number one, they're in ghettos, they have the armbands and all that. I understand why you could see the Jewish parallels in there because they are there, they're implied, and he drew from that. But I don't think he was trying to say that people were right to fear the Jews by making them parallel to Titans in his story. That's not what he's saying. I think he's saying this is sort of how people would treat otherwise human people who have the potential to turn into this. I don't see the Jewish. I did not think of Jews when I saw that. I'll be honest with you. I did not think of anyone of the Jewish faith until they sort of started focusing on the armband with Falco and Gabby. So that's one thing. And the fascist thing, like I just said, man, no one fucking wins. Even when the story ends and you've got Eldians just chanting they're ready to fight, they're ready to go to war and like to rebuild their military, no one's winning. Eren did all that so they could live in peace and not have to worry about their military, but no one, they're not having to do that. To be perfectly honest with you, everything Eren did once he unlocked the Founder was worthless for the most part. Almost everything he did. All he did was delay the inevitable. That they're just going to go back to war. The only thing is, now they don't have any trump cards. Eldians have no trump cards. And you think about it from that perspective, that just goes, that's one of the other things about Eren's character. All the different times that he was saying, I'll never accomplish anything, all this is for nothing, all these people dying over me is for nothing, he was sort of fucking right. It was almost pointless in the long run because it just goes to show people are always going to fight. These are people from Eldia who saw firsthand the rumbling, who know what he did, and they still want to go to war. they're still just intent on this, and it just goes to show you the pointlessness of it all. That's the real tragedy of Aaron's character for me. It's because there was no reason for him to have to do any of this. All he did was delay the inevitable, because it was 100 years since King Fritz put all of humanity behind the walls, and they gave them all that time. It's probably going to be 100 years before the rest of these countries rebuild their militaries and they start doing the same shit that they tried to do earlier, going to war. And you know what's going to happen now? Eldians have no trump cards like Titans, so they're just going to get annihilated. And that's the thing that I think about more and more as I go from this story. Like I said, I didn't like the ending. I think it sucked, but I feel like that was intentional. I feel like he wanted the ending to suck, and he did it on purpose, because he wanted people to understand that in the story that he's telling, the way he's telling it, you should have seen this ending coming. I feel like now that I think about it more and more, an ending like that was so unsatisfying. And you know what? Let me sort of just say what happens in the ending. Aaron goes through with the rumbling. He allows all of his friends and the warriors, well, not all of them, just Falco. He becomes the Jaw Titan. He eats Marcel, or not Marcel, Porco, whatever the fuck that dude's name is. He becomes the Jaw Titan. Annie gets out of her prison, we all know, and she starts to fight. You have all that shit happening, and for some reason he allows them to beat him, and that just goes. I'm gonna also get into that in just a little bit of a second, but he allows them to beat him. He has Mikasa kill him. That's what he wants. That's sort of just how he has it happen, and after that, it's like I said, it was all for nothing. It was all just for what? So that he could just make them the heroes and have himself be the enemy.
海の外も壁の中も同じなんだ。
The ending just wasn't supposed to be satisfying. It was supposed to just leave you like, what the fuck? Like, really? And that's the more I think about it, because that's the entire story of Attack on Titan. You get sucked in thinking it's going to be this sort of classic shonen, and you think that, all right, yeah, maybe some people are going to die, but it's just going to be always, in the end, you know who's going to survive, and you know who the main characters are, and you know that they're always going to come out on top. In Attack on Titan, that is not the case. You get swerves, you get betrayed, you get a lot of characters that you thought were going to last, they just die. People kick the fucking bucket. And it's just gritty and it's visceral. So I really feel like for this type of show, for this type of story, you had to leave it on an almost just like, damn, they didn't really accomplish anything, because that's really sort of the theme of Attack on Titan's world. Shit doesn't really, like, there will just always be strife. There will always be conflict. You even look back to the founder Ymir and her time. Even back then, I just sort of looked over that chapter today, and it was just one thing when they first show her in chains, being after her village was just conquered by Eldians, or at least the primitive Eldians. You just see them just going to town. They're just fucking killing random people even after they've already got them enslaved and enchained. He tells all the slaves, I'm gonna take out one of your eyeballs if y'all don't reveal who just released one fucking pig. It's a show that just reminds you that the world sucks. If there is a hell on this earth, this is the type of show that just tells you you're probably living on it already. And that is one thing that that did resonate with me, because I do sort of feel like sometimes you think about how shitty this world is and how terrible things can be in the world. It reminds you that we are not in a perfect society. This isn't a perfect type of place, because just like the Attack on Titan world, we're in a world filled with a lot of prejudices. We have a lot of old standing grudges between ethnicities and just different cultures. And it really, just like they never really are, the story ends with you getting the impression they're never going to see eye to eye. There's never going to be unity. There's never going to be a unified front in a world full of peace. That's the same vibe I get from this planet. And that's one thing that I feel like Isayama did a good job of. He made it such a fantasy-like world, but he kept you, it still feels like reality. Like, I feel like Attack on Titan could have happened, and it could have just been wiped from our memories. We could have actually been King Fritz. Maybe Isayama knows something that the rest of us don't. He needs to fucking spill the beans. Tell us, man. But that was Aaron's character, really, for the most part. That's his arc. Now, when it comes to the ending and what they did with them, I'm actually really fucking disappointed because he just sort of turned into an incel. Everything was cool with his ending to me. I didn't mind him and Armin just talking and him just sort of, revealing his plan. I did all this so that you guys could be the heroes. It's fucked up. I don't know if I understand Armin being so quick to be okay with it and just be like, oh yeah, man, I appreciate your sacrifice. Thanks for killing everybody. But I can understand it. What I don't understand is, where did the whole love thing with Mikasa come from? I'm okay with their whole little love angle and everything. Like, that's a fine little piece to add. But where did that come from? The entire show, I feel like I never got the vibe from Eren and Mikasa that they were in love. I got that Mikasa loved him and everything. Like, yes, I understood that, but that was one-sided. He never gave a hint towards that shit at all. I maybe got that vibe from Historia, but if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I thought Eren sort of might have been gay. Him and Armin made a lot more sense than he did with either Mikasa or Historia. I mean, Isayama did not do a good job with romance. You really don't see any hints towards it. I didn't feel any hints towards it until you got to the chapter where he is going through the paths, through Grisha's memories with Zeke, and you see him focus on him giving the scarf to Mikasa. Other than that, I never sort of caught that vibe. And I'm interested to see how they animate that, because it feels like they shoehorned it in. That was the least of his compatible vibes. Would have felt like they just went with the cliche main girl, main guy, and maybe I just wasn't reading into it enough. But that's my only real issue with Eren's ending. I understand why he did it. I thought him being able to be reincarnated as a bird, once again, it's sort of weird and goofy, especially with him just putting the scarf around her. The only thing I have an issue with is the whole incel, I don't want her to get over me ever again type shit. Like, come on, really? Like, Eren, after all he did for his friends, he really wants, we're gonna end it with him being selfish? He's so pressed about her moving on, about her not being able to move on, that he's gonna come back as a bird to make sure she's stuck? Like, damn, bro, let it go. Like, that definitely just seemed out of character for him. I remember in the episode where he's talking to all them after they had built the railroad and shit, and he tells them, I just want y'all to live long lives. So where did that come? Where did that go? Did he just decide, fuck it? No, I don't want her to have any type of life without me, and I'm gonna become a bird to do it. No, that does not sound like Eren. That didn't come off as him. That one was just sort of cheap to me. I don't know what he was trying to gain by putting that in there about his character, but that felt like a weak ass little way to just end their whole little relationship or show anything. I didn't like that. And I also didn't like that, he had the conversation with Armin, and like I said, Armin was the one who sort of always felt like he had more of a connection with him, or at least enough to just show it like that. So the fact that it feels like Armin just had a happy ending after all, where he just sort of moves forward. If anyone should have become depressed, it should have been Armin. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like I was getting away from my main point there, but that is what I'm trying to say. Other than that, other than that, Aaron, that's Aaron's ending, really. You know, that's all I got to say about him. It wasn't handled the best when it came to the incel stuff, but, you know, his whole little final act of, you know, I'm gonna become the villain to save the world and give you guys all the props. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with all that. I wish we would have been able to see some of his other conversations with the other characters where he explained stuff, because all we saw were the stuff with Mikasa and the conversation with Armin. But I'm not satisfied just hearing what Gene says happened, or what Connie says they talked about, not with what Annie, like Annie. That sounded like a very deep personal conversation he had with Annie, and I would love to know what he said to her. Peak, oh man, I didn't like that Peak didn't get a conversation, and the fact that she didn't get a conversation, and she even says she wished she had one. Either you're gonna give her a conversation, or you're just gonna have her not really care, because that just seemed weird to me. Yeah, I also didn't like how the whole worm scenario, you like the microorganism that you saw the founder Ymir get stuck with on her back, that turned her into a Titan in the first place. We didn't see the ending. We don't know what the fuck happened there. We don't know. All we last see of it is that it gets separated from Aaron in Armin's transformation explosion, and after that you just see it on the ground, just sort of trying to get closer to him. It turns all the random Eldians into Titans, and that's the last that we see of it. We don't see it die. All we know is that after Mikasa cut his head off, somehow everything just disappeared. Like, once again, the ending just sort of got a little cheap with a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff that I'm really praying the anime just does a lot more justice for, shows some more detail, gives us an idea what happened. How did they win? I still don't understand it.
今だ、ミカサ。
Okay, one other thing I do want to talk about when it comes to the ending, I want to talk about Mikasa, because Mikasa got fucked over. Mikasa is a perfect example of how to not end a female character's story, because I don't know if it was supposed to be a happy ending for her or a good one, but she just got shit on. Like, and like I said with Aaron, I understand why he went for this ending, to show that no one really gets to be happy in the Attack on Titan world. No one really gets what they want. War just causes nothing but suffering. But I felt like the fact that Mikasa didn't even get to move on, that Aaron chose to be a dick and just sort of keep her stuck on him for her entire life. She pretty much just sticks at his grave all the time. That is the part that irks me. If anyone deserved to be able to move on and be able to just put all this shit behind them and try to be happy, it was her. Everything that she had went through, all the shit that she had put up with Aaron, just going after him and protecting him, all the people that she had to kill just to sort of live, and the fact that she just gets to be stuck at a grave next to a guy that never was able to just show her the love that she really deserved, that's sad. That just feels like, damn, he didn't like her. And I know that's not the case, but Mikasa really deserved better, man. She turned into, it feels like she got done like Sakura, like a character that had a potential, a female character that had a potential that just never got to realize it. That was always just stuck chasing after the boy. And it's just a waste, because Mikasa was a good character. She was badass. There's still badass moments with her. I can enjoy all the action scenes with her. But all the fucking times now when I'm gonna look at the series, I'm just gonna see Aaron. Like, oh my goodness. Like get over him. You don't need him. You can kill him. But that's Mikasa, and I that's her whole character. Her whole character revolves around him. And that's what I don't like in my anime female characters. I don't like women that just revolve around the men, because they have so much more potential in it. And it feels weird for me saying this as a man, but it just feels sexist and misogynist. It's just like, damn, like, does she really just have to be thirsty for this man's dick 24/7? Is that what she thinks about? I remember back when she was fighting the female Titan, she got so goddamn mad she caused Levi to get his ankle twisted. And it's just like, damn, y'all are, and they emphasize it was her fault. Like, damn, can she have something about her other than him? And they try to introduce that with the whole, I can't remember their name, that the Asian clan, the Asian country, where the woman comes in and she's like their heir. But she just chooses not to even follow up with that in the end. She chooses to stick near this man's grave. She does nothing. And Historia has the exact same sort of opportunity, and she chooses to be queen. It's like he chose to make Historia a character that had an arc that was satisfying, where she actually got empowered and was able to do her own thing. And he made Mikasa, the main woman, just the lapdog for the bad guy, for the main character turned bad guy. And it's sort of sad. Mikasa deserved better. Isayama, that's the one. That's my probably my number 2 biggest issue when it came to how you ended this story. When it comes to my number 1 issue, though, I really think it just boils down to how he decided to end up shifting the fact that Ymir, the founder Ymir, wanted freedom more than anything, or she just wanted to be free and be free of all her duties and shit, to where that she just actually loved the king of Eldi, or whatever his name was, King Fritz. That never, I don't like that, because it just sort of, it's like, why did she do anything that she did? Why? The fact that she would actually be in love with him just doesn't sit well with me, because it's just like, it's just another way to just make these female characters, I feel like, just feel so subservient, so always like they just needed a man. They needed to love a man, or they just had these, they just had to love these evil men. I don't like it. I don't like it. It feels like it's, and this is just me, and this is just another thing with me, I guess, about the way I'd like my female characters in my anime or my manga. I want them to be strong. I want them, if they're not, I want them to at least have some fucking personality if they're gonna be this just sort of dick whipped. And it's just like a lot of these women in these stories were dick whipped. And the 2 women that he made that were lesbians, Ymir and Historia, ended up being the most interesting. That's fucking wild, and that's crazy to me. It's actually really crazy when I think about it like that, because they were the 2 most interesting women in the story, and they were just the ones that weren't dick whipped. Them and Hanji. And Hanji was always so focused on being a military leader that it didn't matter what gender she was. A lot of these other women that they introduced, they either killed them off, or they had some type of man that they were just sort of always looking after. Even the Warhammer Titan, she was pretty much just silent. It was the dude that was doing them. I think his name was Willie. He was the one that was doing most of the talking. Yet Peak, okay. Peak was a rare exception. I do enjoy Peak. Peak was cool, and you know what? I'm gonna give Annie her credit. Annie was cool too. So let me take that back. That was going too far. He was somewhat fucking up with the females, because it was like the more important they were, the more they were just sort of subservient. But he did manage to sprinkle in some women in there who had agency, they had goals, and they weren't always focused around following after some dude. Gabby, and you know what, Gabby too, because I don't like to include her because she's a young girl and everything. Her and Falco were young, but Gabby was low-key raw. She was with the shits. I didn't like her at first. Again, I'm looking at this story a second time as I'm going through. I'm actually finding more and more things that I thought I didn't like or I thought bothered me that are actually pretty alright. Gabby and everything that she did was cool. When she shot off Aaron's fucking head, the first time I was like, man, fuck that little bitch. I was happy as fuck when I saw her get beat up in the thing in that little air blimp after she shot Sasha. But seeing this second time, when I actually see the manga panel of her just blowing Aaron's head off, when I see her just roll up on the horse, even just right before that to save him on the horse, when I see her going through these character developments where she actually starts to think about her actions and why she might have been wrong to feel the way she feels. Even when I see her in the war at the start of season 4, I enjoy it. She's cool. She's an action girl. And honestly, before I knew what the ending was, before I saw it, I thought somehow it was gonna continue on with her being the one to sort of become the next Eren, or something like that, because she sort of made sense, and she did feel similar to Eren in that same way. It's just she was brainwashed by Marley. Eren was, well, in a sense, Eren was brainwashed by himself. So she had that going for her. But in the end, it ended up just sort of ending the way it did. And, you know, Gabby got to be happy, so I am happy to see that she was with Falco. I have no idea why they were pushing Levi around. I don't understand that dynamic. I don't even know how those three would end up together. But they ended up together, so I was happy for that. That was cool to see. Peak ended up being, you know, with the hero. Peak ended up getting to be with the heroes and everything. She ended up on the boat with all of them. Annie, same thing. I hope her and Armin are getting together. I hope that was what they were hinting towards, because her and Armin, after all of that, they seemed like they would be nice together. They had a lot of chemistry just on the same, just watching scenes with them together back. They were cool as a couple, ideally. And honestly, I'm gonna be real. John should have been able to get with Mikasa. You know what? Eren is dead. And this is part of why I don't like the fact that Eren is doing all this incel, just keeping her stuck on him shit. This is weird. Like, bro, let her move on. You're dead. John is a good friend. Why would you not want her to at least be with John? That's someone that you know would treat her right. So, you know, it's just strange the way he did some of these females and the way he handled some of these character endings. Reiner sniffing the note from Historia has been interpreted as just really, really weird from a lot of people. I don't disagree, but I do think it's a little harsh to just sort of, you know, I mean, I don't think he would have too much of a reason to be depressed anymore. He didn't lose anybody in that fight other than Porco. The entire world is saved. He doesn't have to die anymore. What's he got to be sad about? Let him be happy. So there's that. So that's somewhat okay. But that's pretty much the gist of how the story ends for most of the main characters. Even though they don't really get happy endings, they all sort of get an ending. We understand where they're at the end of the story, and it's just sort of, the story doesn't really give you that definitive, okay, everything worked out ending, but like I said before, that's not what you should expect from Attack on Titan. All that being said though, Attack on Titan is just one of those shows that blows me away, not only because of the amazing quality and production, the way the characters sort of just get you immersed in their arcs and their lives, but more so because of the fact that it's a show that's animated and it's got so much just fantasy shit that you could never see in real life, but somehow it still feels like real life. You still feel like this is stuff that can actually happen. Nothing ever feels too out there. You take away the Titans and this could be the story. This could basically be just like a history lesson on how some cultures can go. There's too many different parallels to just the way that people are treated in Attack on Titan and the way people like to think about the way the world works compared to reality for you to say that Attack on Titan is just fiction. It's not a world that couldn't exist, it's just a dystopia. It's like, what would happen if our world just somehow found magical monsters and someone just took them over and started to control them? That's Attack on Titan, really, to me. I don't look at it, I just feel like the show is just too real, and I do blame that on all the politics in it. This show is exactly what's going to happen to our world if we don't learn to cooperate and just unify with each other. Exactly that, because all you do is replace the Titans with nukes, because that's basically what they are. I have to give this show credit for just being something that is so relatable yet so out there. It's like the Chronicles of Narnia meets Game of Thrones meets fucking Breaking Bad. And I know Breaking Bad, I don't know a real live action or reality based show to compare this to, but it's basically both of those two shows, Game of Thrones and damn, I didn't know where I was gonna go with that one. Attack on Titan is the shit. It's really just one of those special types of works that I'm glad I was alive to just sort of be there to witness, be there to read, be there to take in. It's something that I feel like is going to be, if we're here 100 years from now, people are going to be talking about Attack on Titan as one of those great stories that's timeless. I can honestly say that it's probably the best seinen manga of all time. The only one I think I can compare it to would probably be Berserk, and that one I don't even know if it'll ever end. So yeah, Attack on Titan, it's definitely worth the hype. It's worth all, it deserves all the praise it gets, all the recognition. Like I said before, I don't know where people are getting the fascist or the they're just saying that the Jews deserved what they got type shit from, but it is worth the hype, and it is that profound. It's the type of show to where, like, it'll make you think, and I guess it'll make you think some crazy ass shit like that. Like, it'll make you think some real wild takes, because it's the type of show that is going to make you think. Attack on Titan is not for the simple-minded or the one track thought types of people. Like I said before, again, you gotta watch that shit like twice over just to go back and see all the stuff you missed the first time, to just get the hints, to see the subtle build-ups to stuff that you didn't even realize was being built up on the first go around. Reiner, Bertold, fucking Annie. You literally, they damn near show you what's gonna happen. They show you the ending in the first scene. It's wild. It is wild how deep ahead. And you know what? They say that some of these mangas that the author will have the ending plotted out already from the beginning. I've heard that about My Hero. I've heard about it from One Piece. I've heard about it from different just mangas and shit. But Attack on Titan, that man knew where he was going. He knew the road. He had the start of that road, and he had the ending mapped out. The rest of that shit was just going through was just cruising along the way. There might have been a couple of things that he didn't plan on making as important or as detailed or taking as long, but he knew where he was going, and he deserves so much credit for that, because it takes dedication. It takes vision. And Isayama had all that shit in spades, so big shouts out to him. Shouts out to Shingeki no Kyojin, Attack on Titan, whatever you want to call it, man. You need to pick it up. You need to. I don't know what else to say, man. I really just love this manga. I love the show. I can't wait to see it end over in December when they start to air the second half of season 4. I really just can't wait, and I really hope that people tune in and just take some time. If you're at this point in the video and you're a manga reader, I'm telling you, go ahead, watch it again. You ain't gonna miss out. If you are someone who has never seen the show, what are you waiting for? Start immediately. And if you are someone who has only seen up until the part where the anime left off, stop being so lazy. Pick up the damn book. Like pick it up. You don't even have to pick it up, really, because I'm saying just go pick up your phone, search up Attack on Titan chapter 100, and just go from there. I'm telling you, man, it's such a great experience. It's so worth it. I just hope that people don't wait, don't snooze on this, because this is the type of story that you only hear once in a lifetime. That's everything, though. That's all I got to say on this one. This has been my first full episode in a long time, and I had to do it for Attack on Titan. I had to. It's just a special type of series. It's a great type of show that I really feel like you're gonna be able to enjoy, whether you're an anime person, whether you don't like it, whether you only like live action shows, or whether you just hate cartoons. You'll love Attack on Titan. But that's my opinion on it. My name is Jerm, and you have been listening to Kinetic Aesthetic. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. I want to say thank you again for tuning into my first episode in a while. Y'all have a good one, though, man. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jermster. Make sure you go and just give me a follow on Spotify, Apple Music, however you listen to this. And just go ahead and give me some feedback, man. I want to hear from you guys what you want to hear next on the show, and I just want to keep pushing out good content for you. But other than that, y'all continue to be good people, live good lives, have a good one. Thanks again for listening. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Jermster. On Twitter with 1_, on Instagram with 3. Also be sure to like and follow on whatever listening platform you're using to hear me out. And other than that, have a great and wonderful rest of your day.